Okay, in this video we're going to have a look at using the widgets library to add a simple feedback form to your website. So to open up the widgets library, you'll find it on the right hand side of the Adobe Muse program. If I click on that, we then got these different folders, and the one that we're looking for is forms. Now if you open that up, you'll see that there are two different kinds of forms. There's a simple contact or there's a detailed contact. We're just going to stick with a simple contact, but there's no reason why you couldn't go ahead and explore the detailed one after you've had a look at this simple one. So I'm just going to select that and then drag it out onto the page and have a look at it. Now it gives you simple sort of fields such as name, email and a message, and then a submit button as well here that's available for you. You can give the form a name, and I'd always recommend that you do give it a name, so make sure you type in something there. When somebody clicks submit, you want the results, in other words what people have entered into these categories here, you want those results sent to you so that you can see what people are emailing you about or submitting the form about. So when people click submit, the email address that you want to put in here is your email address. So you would simply type in there your enrolment number at Selfdowns, for example, .ac.uk, or any kind of email address that you want to use in order to get the submission for this form. Now after it's submitted, you can stay on the current page, or you could take people to another page. So what this means is that you could create another page within your website where you have a thank you message and saying that you will get back to the person within 24 hours. So that would be good to have a little sort of yes, the form has been sent, it's on its way, and we will get back to you soon. And you could just create a one-off page with that message on it and then have it so that it goes to that page after they click submit. So that's a really nice feature. We go back here and select our form, come back to the options. You can add in more fields, so you could add in a cell phone number if you wanted to. Now I know it's a cell phone and that's American. We can always go into this text by just double clicking in here and going in. You can edit that text and just put in mobile phone, which we're more used to having. Okay, so plenty of options there for your form. So let me just go back and select our form again. So I need to get the selection tool. So you can see that you've got all of these different fields that you can add in. At the moment I wouldn't add in the captures. Captures are anti-spam, so this is where you'd have to type in like a little code that's in an image to make sure that you don't have somebody spamming you with just lots and lots of form submissions. But they require you to have accounts either with Adobe or an account with Google, and then you need to generate some keys from Google as well in order for it to work. So it's a little bit complex to incorporate a capture into these forms, so we're not going to look at those at the moment because they're not really necessary for the level of work that we want to do. You could go in and add in more fields that aren't listed here. So if you wanted to add in some checkboxes, you can just click a plus symbol here and it will add in a checkbox for you. So you can do all of those different kinds of things. Okay, so let's just have a look at the way that this form works. Well, at the moment, if we go to the states, because you'll be surprised, but there are different states available, just like for navigation buttons. There's a normal state, a rollover state. So if we go to states, you'll see that you have a normal state, you have your submit in progress, so the button is changing here, you have your submit, a success, so you've got a little message that appears here saying form received. You can edit this on this particular state, and of course there's a submit error, so you can say what would happen if the form doesn't work for some reason. You can have an error message, and when you're in this particular state you can customize this, so you could come in here and change this color, you could change the message itself by activating this particular state. So that's quite useful to know about that. Then if you go into each one of your individual fields, they also have states available to them as well. So as you go through these different states, you can see that you also have an error state. So if people haven't typed in the correct information that you're expecting, say for example a correct email address, you can return an error state. And again, you can customize that color and the message that appears once you have activated that state. If we go and look at each particular field, you get a little menu that allows you to set some properties for that particular field. So here we can say that we require entry. In other words, people can't submit unless they actually type in something into this box. If you don't want that to happen, then you can just take that tick off, and it means that people can skip that particular part of the form if they want to. You can have a show a prompt text when it's empty. In other words, it's got here enter name. So that's your prompt text to prompt people what they have to type into this particular message. And each one of these small fields will have these kind of settings available to them. So you can go through and change all of those kind of features. Even down to the submit button, you've got different states that are available to you. So as people put their mouse over it, you can get a rollover state. This one is just a simple change in the slight color of grey, and again you can do all of your different kinds of messages, like who it's emailing to, very similar to the previous option that we had set before. Okay, and if we do a Command Shift and E and preview in a browser, you can just see what the form's going to look like. You can see the rollover effects, how they're working. You can see the rollover effect on the submit button as well, and when people type in their name, if we don't type in anything and we try and submit it, we get a bit of an error message here because I haven't yet set up the form to work with an FTP client or be published to Adobe Business Catalyst. We can see there, look at the error messages that are coming up. So these are the things that we said you must enter information, and therefore it's come up in red as an error message. Okay, so I'm just going to close that down, and that is a simple form that you can create here in Adobe Muse.